small, but you can see here's that 212 low, and I just have this all the way to a 15-minute chart. So there's the 212 low, all on the downside. We ripped. The market had a little bit of a pullback, but Q stayed pretty flat, and then or IWM stayed pretty flat. And then look at this from yesterday overnight to right now, just absolutely covering a ton of ground. Now 212 to 230 might not sound like anything crazy, but someone in the chat give me the exact math. That's an $18 move on a $212 asset. So, we're talking, what's that? 12%, 14%? Someone can tell me the exact math, but from 212.34 to 230.95 on an index. We're not talking about an individual stock. We're talking about an index there just from the beginning of the month. So we'll see what happens there, but absolutely ripping and making me more and more tempted to fade it. Now, like I said, I'm a little hesitant because all it takes is some rate cut excitement for IWM just to keep on ripping. And if you go to the weekly chart and we take a longer term view, it actually looks phenomenally bullish on the weekly chart. In fact, my long term, you can see my limit right here. My super long term, super aggressive play is starting to get within striking distance. That's how aggressive it's been to the upside. So this doesn't look like a weekly chart that I would typically fade. The only time that I would do it would be if I do that pair trade that I mentioned, where I am like SPY long, IWM short, and then I'm in a situation where, if the market does continue ripping, I expect to make my upside on the SPY. But if we get a collapse, I expect the IWM to come down with it. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Boy, SPX trying to pop. Let's see what it can do. I've got a trade that I needed to get up to 64.60, and we just popped through that. So go, baby, go. I'll take a profit on that trade if we can hit it. Let's see where I'm at right now. There we go. I'm up a couple $100. Keep on going, baby. The other, I think, important thing that everyone has been wanting an update from me on is, yes, I played golf yesterday and missed the closing playbook. And yes, it was a competitive match in our season-long bracket at my club. And yes, we won. So I know that you guys were all on the edge of your seat wondering, did Nate win his golf match? Far more important to you, I'm sure, than any of the trade recommendations or ideas. And just to put your mind at ease, the answer is yes. We played great. We won our match, and we are on to the Sweet 16. So just making sure, got that very, very important update out for you guys. Let's see. AMD still up 5%. Oh, and Bitcoin. Look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's getting a little extra juice right now. We're in striking distance on Bitcoin. Let's see. What's our future side? 123,615. We're in $500 away from the break on the future side. I bet Bitcoin hits all-time highs tonight. Should we do a little 2-day trade on Bitcoin with a Friday expiration? What do you guys think? I think we get a poke to all-time highs. Do a little 48-hour trade between now and Friday expiration, maybe 1 or 2% move, see if we can get enough meat on the bone to make it worthwhile. All right, remind me when the official session kicks off at 3:30. And we'll make a note to do that. Just a little one on IBIT. Luann, yes, great question. So Luann said, hey, I got the note about getting some extra profit on overnight options, but I didn't actually know what that meant. Luann, that's from one of the bonus classes that's in your members area. But basically, all we do is if the market is up enough that we can get some extra juice, we go and we cancel our good till canceled order. We cancel that limit order that's sitting there waiting to get filled before the market opens. Because if the market opens, it's going to fill immediately and make our money, which is not the worst thing in the world, but that's what's going to happen if you leave the order. But if you want to get a little extra profit, what you can do is you can cancel that order wait for the market to open and reprice those options, give it a minute or two, and then get a little extra profit by re-adding your order, your limit order for an exit after the market is open. So I'm sure have any of you guys in the chat done that? That's a little more advanced way to handle overnight options. Has anyone done that before, where you take my recommendation and when the market's up enough pre-market, and then you get some extra profit on top of your trade? All right, great. So Bill, Lania, Cheryl, DW, Carol, Joel did it yesterday. Nice. Okay, a lot of you are figuring this out. That's awesome. Dawn, Debbie, Bill did it twice. Roxanne, oh my, you guys are good. Brad, everyone's doing it. Okay, see, I thought maybe there's only a handful of people who had kind of figured that out yet, and we're taking advantage. I love it. I'm still getting Craig, D, Robert, William. Wow. Yeah. Well, good point. You don't want to cancel your order and then try to time it. You just want to get in 1 or 2 minutes in and take whatever price that you're going to get. So that's true. You're not trying to time a new exit. You're just trying to take what you get a couple minutes into the market. So there's like 50 of you who have already done that, and there's not even that many people in the room yet because we're still a couple minutes away from getting there. So that's awesome. I love to see that. That's really cool. Chris, Dave, looks like Chris is having some trouble with the audio. I don't know if you can maybe give him a screenshot or something to do that. So that's super cool. Well, guys, at the end of today's session, I'm going to be shamelessly plugging overnight options once again because I can't help myself. This streak has been phenomenal. We keep winning. So all of you in the chat who said you're not only winning on overnight options, but you're getting extra profits from overnight options, I expect you in the chat to tell everyone else they need to get on board if they're not trading overnight options yet, because we're going to do that here at the end. So I expect you guys to have my back and tell everyone, if you're not an overnight options member, what are you waiting for? It is about as systematic, simple, and lately about as profitable as you could hope. All right, we're only a couple minutes here from rolling into our closing playbook session.
Time for you to sing the closing playbook theme song, I think.
Yeah. Yes, true. Closing time.
Do we want to give people, I know we're going to send a message out later today. Do we want to give people a heads up about tomorrow?
Yes. So we will be sending an update in Telegram as well on that. So a lot of you guys messaged in and said that you're getting like a notification in your browser about when you try to get into opening playbook or closing playbook. The reason you're getting that is because it's on this website that you see at the top called live.newmoneycrew.com. So the issue is with our domain, newmoneycrew.com, that's having some errors and some baggage associated with it. So we're getting that domain replaced, and it's going to be part of the functional tool here. And then we will be updating you as soon as that's all set. In the meantime, tomorrow, we will have our session on Zoom. So we'll have opening playbook on Zoom, closing playbook on Zoom, most likely. And then we'll just kind of update you and make sure that we're all set with a new domain, and hopefully can test that thoroughly, not have any issues, so that everyone can get in. Because we've been getting more and more people saying that they're getting that flag. Now, obviously, most of you in here seem to be okay because you're in here. But we had definitely some people who were not able to get in, and so we're working on that update right now.
The same links will work. Whatever link you took to get here, we're going to redirect everything under the sun that we can find, that we can think of, to go to the correct room. And I will log in here and just put a message up just in case somehow somebody finds a way in here. And obviously the webinar itself won't be running in here, but we can we'll put up a message just to be sure. But all roads should lead to the correct Zoom room tomorrow morning.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, well, keep an eye out for that. All right, folks. Well, it is 3:30, so we're getting rolling here. The first thing on my list was this Bitcoin trade. I honestly haven't spent a whole lot of time looking at the earnings flow. I don't know if Graham had any that had caught his eye. We can take a look at that as well. But Graham, I was saying Bitcoin getting another little late surge here at the end of the day. On the future side, we're only $400 from all-time highs. Yeah. I personally think we're going to hit all-time highs tonight. And so I was just going to put on a little 48-hour IBIT trade for this Friday's expiration, somewhere between a lotto pick and a high probability pick, I guess. But I really think we'll probably hit all-time highs tonight. And so just a little kind of debit spread trade on IBIT. So that was kind of first on my agenda, but we always typically look at the earnings in the closing playbook as well. I didn't know if you had anything on that side of the coin that was catching your eye.
I'll go looking. Did anyone get Rocket Mortgage from Monday? I told you I was waiting for a pullback, but I don't think that one. I don't think that pullback's coming.
Yeah. Don't look like it, does it?
Man. And yeah, Bitcoin. You were right. I told you guys earlier this week I expected a fake out here, but it does not appear to be one at the current.
Yeah. IBIT is showing all-time highs, but the futures market doesn't because some of the overnight movement. So here I'll share the chart for you now. So this is what IBIT looks like. If I pop that up there, and you can see this is on the IBIT side, the daily chart, and we're showing it as a crack through the all-time highs. Kind of similar to this one. If I just duplicate this line here and I drag it down here, kind of similar to this. See how it had a very lazy move after this shoot up, and then it broke through. Well, now we had a very lazy move and we broke through. But notice when it did break through, boom, it went parabolic. Now, I don't know if it has that much legs left on it, but I actually do still hold to the fact that we might see 150K Bitcoin before the end of the year. And sometimes that means 2 weeks of movement and the rest a lot of fluff with the way that Bitcoin moves. So wouldn't actually shock me if we got a pretty rambunctious run up here over the next couple of days. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the more conservative quote unquote trade on Bitcoin. So I'm going to put a line in the sand just right up here around 70. But if you guys wanted to take a really aggressive trade, I'll give you that one too. It's not the one I'm going to take. I've kind of been too aggressive with Bitcoin the last couple of runs and just wish that I took more of a wrap order structured trade because those would have worked out. But I got a little too aggressive and wished I hadn't. So I'm going to try to learn from my mistakes here and just do a more conservative trade right in that $70 range. Maybe it'll end up being 71. Which is like a 2% move, obviously a nothing burger for Bitcoin. But I'll also show you, if you guys want to shoot for like a 10% move on Bitcoin, I'll put that trade out there as well. And then you can take one, you can take both, you can take neither, of course. That is fully up to you. So let me go ahead and just walk through that. I'll switch over to my actual Thinkorswim here. Sorry, let me just remove some of the junk from my Thinkorswim so that I can show that full screen. All right. There we go. Sorry, that took forever. I was trying to clean up my Thinkorswim so I could show it more easily. So here we got the futures now. You can see the difference, right? The futures just shy of the all-time highs, whereas if we flip to IBIT, we see it just above the all-time highs. That's because that overnight movement that the futures market is going to show more accurately than the intraday movement that we're going to get on IBIT. So how do we trade this? Well, we can go to IBIT and kind of set up our classic structured debit spread. And the thing that I like about this, because it's only 2 days away, so we're kind of boxing this in and just saying, listen, the next 2 days, we'll try to get a rally here. We're going to get a pretty good risk reward for even a 2% move, which is, again, pretty much nothing for IBIT. So that would be the 70.71. If you want to go more aggressive, that's what is that? $1.40 on 70. So that's right about 2% to the upside there on IBIT. This would be buying the 70 call, selling the 71 call for this Friday. You're basically saying, listen, Bitcoin needs to go up 2%, by Fridays, 4 p.m. And if it does, we're going to get about a 200% ROI on that trade. So let me go ahead and type that one into the chat first. This is what I'm actually calling the more conservative play of the two. Now, granted, it's not conservative because we're going for 200%, but relative to the one I'll show you next. So this would be buy to open the AUG 15 IBIT $70 call. It would be sell to open the AUG 15 IBIT $71 call. And you can pay about a 30-cent debit for this, which gives you over 200% ROI potential on IBIT in 2 days. So this is for those of you think we're going to get that move up. It's going to kind of melt up overnight, which I think we will hit all-time highs tonight. And the question is just, can they hold or do they get flushed back out? Because Bitcoin, it has a lot of range, right? We've seen it rip to all-time highs and just absolutely go crazy and be up 4%, then 8%, then 10%. We've also seen it stab at all-time highs and then fade pretty hard. So both outcomes are a reality, but that's precisely why I like these kind of trades. I like these kind of trades where I can go in with $30 of risk, maybe throw 10 contracts at it off $300 of risk, not a lot of risk. And if I get it totally wrong and Bitcoin drops 5%, totally fades a stab to all-time highs, I'm going to lose $300. I'm not buying $100,000 worth of Bitcoin and taking the pain if we get a rejection. At the same time, if it does flip up, I'm going to realize the full profit potential. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try, Gary said he got in for 29, so I'll try 29 as well. And that way my risk right there, as you can see, $290 versus my potential profit, $710, like 220% or something. I don't know, mental math, but something in that range there for the potential on IBIT. And that's the one that I like. I like this idea of like a 2% move in the next 2 days. Let's see if Bitcoin can sustain some momentum after, as you can see, we've been pretty lazy, finally made it, just like previously. We were pretty lazy, finally broke, just like previously. We were really lazy, finally broke. So I'm hoping we get a little bit of a repeat now that it's actually made that move and not one of these really hard fades that we've seen other times when it stabs at all-time highs. Now, if you want to take the much more aggressive trade, what you would simply do is instead of going to August 15th, just go to August 22nd. Instead of giving it 2 days, give it 9 days. And in 9 days, instead of going for like a 2% move, go for a big whopper. Go for like 8 or 10%. Basically, what that would be saying is we're not just going to get a move grinding up into here. We're going to get a move like this, where we break the top and then we shoot up. This one was, let's see, from the close of the break, 64.40, and we moved to 69.30. So we made almost a 10% move in 3 days. So if you want to be super aggressive, you could do something like that. Let's say like 8%, right? So that would be like a $75 play. You could get that one, folks, for about 11 cents, which means you're going to get about a 900% ROI if you want to take a stab. Now, I'm not going to take this one. I think it's too aggressive. Like I said, I've been a little too aggressive with Bitcoin in the past. But if you like the idea that, hey, listen, we're going to get a run, it's going to go, and I don't mind throwing 10 contracts and risking $100 on it to see if we time it up right, this is the trade for you. It's a much more aggressive, obviously low probability trade, and this will be the $75 call there, and you can get into that one for about 11 cents. So your profit potential there is going to be 850% or so if we get the full rip on Bitcoin. I'm not going to take that one, guys. I like the other one personally, but for those of you who think we're ripping and rolling, this is another great type of trade, because if you think we're ripping and rolling and you want to buy call options, well, you have to be right and you have to throw up a decent amount of minimum risk. I think even the $75 calls are not that cheap, even as out of the money as they are. They are still, actually, no, they're pretty cheap. They're under $1. I was thinking they were still $1. So I guess that only 9 days out. I was previously looking at the ones that were a month or so out. So you could buy the direct calls if you wanted to here. Your break-even price is going to be above 75, though. So you actually need like the full 10% move if you're buying the calls, versus if you buy the debit spread, you can get away with, the 6 or 7% move. Well, more like 8% on the debit spread, and anything above that is going to be the full profit of the trade. So there's your Bitcoin play. I like the idea of a little bit of a rip through tonight with all-time highs. If we get that, maybe I'll even sell half my contracts tomorrow versus waiting for Friday, but I'll manage that in real time based on what Bitcoin actually does. Last thing I want to say about Bitcoin that I love about Bitcoin on these aggressive plays is, let's say I'm totally wrong, which obviously there's a decent probability of that. We're talking about kind of a binary up or down type of trade. So if I'm totally wrong and Bitcoin is back down to 118 tomorrow, does one of those those bounces right back down. Well, on a lot of trades, you're kind of dead in the water with a 2 or 3% move against you overnight. Well, with Bitcoin, you're still alive and well going in for another, for one more day if it rips right back up. So it's one that I think, again, that debit spread structure just makes a lot of sense on.
Well, that should be fun. Nate, I did do some hunting for us.
All right, what do we got?
First one, Cisco after the bell, CSCO. We did have today, 2:36 p.m. I posted it here in the chat. I'll post it again. And again, I'm borrowing Lance's scanner here. It makes it so much easier. Oops, let me go ahead and I've got to copy that again. It did not copy over. All right, here we go. Cisco calls for this week's expiration. Oh, no, excuse me. That's next week's expiration. You can see they did $238,000 of options orders there. And here, should I share my screen?
73 too, so they're like several percent out of the money.
Yes.
Wow.
And I did take a sneak look at I saw Lance's Telegram, he posted it too. So let's see that. There you go. All right. Cisco, again, I'm stealing Lance's scanner here. We can thank him later. Here's your order.
We'll only thank him if they win.
It's refreshing on me, but here's your order that just came in 2:36 p.m. today. They have earnings after the bell. Cisco is a $70 stock, implying a $4 move. And I apologize for the refreshing there. So if we want to trade it, which I will for fun, I took yesterday off of earnings. I had told people, I said, hey, I'm not going to force a trade today. I've already done enough trading. I said, if you want to trade something, trade Lulu puts. Boy, do I wish I just took it myself. But let's go on over here. So again, Cisco, they're trading the 73 calls for next week's expiration. I'm just going to go this week's. And let's just see what the options prices are here. I thought that was a dollar spread. Holy cow. This is a weird random 50-cent strike there.
That is a weird strike. Also, speaking of earnings that you mentioned, I don't know if anyone took it, but you also had suggested the RGTIs earlier, which did get about a 6% move today. Those are pretty nice as well.
So here's what I'm looking at on Cisco. Again, you can trade those calls straight up as the ones I posted there, stolen from Lance's scanner. But if you want to trade an out of the money, slightly out of the money, debit spread, which is what I'm going to do, is trading for 37 cents right now, which means we can turn it healthy 170 profit, 170% profit here. If Cisco does pop on earnings, gets most of that implied move, not all of it necessarily. You can see they're implying almost a $4 move here. We would only need it to spike above 73. So here, Cisco, there's 73. And this would be by Friday end of day for a max profit. Of course, if it does get a pop today up above here, you will probably see over 100% by tomorrow. So I'll go ahead and type this up now. And then Nate, TPR was another one. They have earnings tomorrow morning, but there was some action there if you want to go ahead and take a look at that while I type this up.
What was the other one, Graham, you just said?
TPR.
Oh, TPR. Okay.
And Cisco, they do have earnings after the bell. Keep in mind, again, same disclaimer we always do, earnings are risky. They're fun. They happen quick. They can pay when they work, and they can lose 100% just as quickly. So keep that in mind before deciding how many contracts you want to do.
TPR, I've never traded this, but that chart is phenomenal.
I think that, don't they own a coach or something?
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Well,
right.
My wife would probably know then. That chart is unbelievable. I wish I'd been trading TPR from let's see, from
Build right away on Cisco at 38 cents. I saw it dip to 35 cents, so you might be able to go a little bit lower. Here, let me pull up TPR here. I'll show you.
Well, just know this. August 13th last year was trading for $35. And it's at 114 right now. So
it looks like there's puts and calls on TPR now. So it might not be one. It's up to you guys. I'm just sharing it with you here. What I just happened to see here over the last few minutes. Preferably, I would see them both aligned. If I were to lean one way or the other, I would probably do the calls here just because they are above ask. However, keep in mind, let me make sure TPR is, in fact, the company that I believe it is. Luxury accessories, yeah. Here's a chart of this thing. Yeah, you're right, Nate. Holy moly.
Yeah,
I would have expected it to look more like I don't know, Nike or Lulu or something, being in the discretionary category of life.
Well, yeah, they have earnings up that people are liking, apparently.
About a 7% implied move, 6-7% here. But I got another one here for you guys. COHR is after the bell today, and look at this. Puts. This one was earlier last week. This is today puts.
All for Friday's expiration?
We've got a mixed bag. This one is the week. This is this Friday, next month, and Friday.
Interesting.
So let's go take a look at core. And I believe they're after the bell today. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Yes, they are after the bell. Oh, wow. Look at that.
About a 10% implied move, but they already ripped from a big gap up this morning to 123.
Yeah, let's
so it's showing that core is down 2% today, but really they're down 10% today.
Yeah, and you can see these puts are pretty far out of the money. 103 right there, and this one just hit 3 minutes ago. Oops, that's an older one. I just want to see the size here. Let me just do this. It'll make it easier. All right, much easier to see there. Alrighty.
We got some pretty wild
and these are all today. Now let's keep in mind, let's look at the implied move here is $11. It's about 10% on this stock. So that would put it at what, 105 103 if that implied move were to hit, which would be all the way down here. However, I don't really like betting for the full implied move normally, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it in half and see what those options look like.
Well, take a look at the spreads when you pull those suckers up because they are wide.
Oh, yeah, that is wide. Is it going to be a guessing price?
I'm just going to throw one in for 50 cents and see if it gets filled. Just try to throw a double up trade on there and see what I get.
Oh, filled right at 40 cents there.
Which one did you do for 40?
I'll type it up. I did Friday's expiration, sold the 107 put, bought the 108 put.
Oh, wow. And you got 40 cents. Okay, well, I was about to pay more than that.
Let me type it up. Again, this is about half the implied move. Actually, yeah, there's about half. Sell, again, 15th of August expiration. We're using puts here. It should be a net debit. And I just got in for 40. Oh, wow. Someone got for 20 cents.
I just got in for 26 cents. So
no way.
That's actually like a really underpriced trade with the implied move. That's a third of the applied move for a 300% ROI. So really you should still be in the coin flip category when you're a third of the implied move.
It's moving quick though. So just use a limit order, guys.
Well, now I'm going to try on the call side and see if I can get the same cheap price and just kind of hack the system here. Honestly, of course, the call options are totally different. They get wonky strikes here.
And we can see down here in the option statistics, more puts traded than calls today. You can see at, ask, or above, more puts than calls. Down here in the options orders, there's nothing crazy, but it'll be an interesting one. Did you try the call side there, Nate?
Yeah, but it goes to $5 strikes on the call side, so you don't have as much room to work with. I tried the 115, 120 to see if I could get the same kind of outsized risk reward. Does everyone know when Graham and I say, oh, wow, those are underpriced? Does everyone know what we're talking about? They understand the immediate math that we saw that makes it look like a too good of a deal on the trade structure, or should we slow down and explain that for a couple minutes? Okay, good. So this is a good training exercise for earnings. If you guys like to gamble, we shouldn't joke that much about gambling. If you like to trade earnings, then what you really want to get comfortable with is kind of the math and the structure around that. So when you are trading earnings, the first thing that you're going to look at is the implied move. That's how much the stock is actually expected to move on the immediate announcement. In this case, Core is expected to move $11.
And then, sorry, let me make this a little bit bigger again for you guys. All right, CC11, market maker.
Yep. So if you're trading a move that's right at the current price, so if you guys know what a wrap order is, that means you need price to basically move just a tiny bit. Well, when it comes to earnings, anything that's within like a couple dollars of an $11 applied move is almost like a wrap order. Basically, it's like in that coin flip variety, where if you get a beat, you certainly expect an $11 implied move to at least move $2 or $3, right? Because the implied move's 11. That's what the market makers think. If you get a beat, it's probably going to move close to that. So it means it's almost certainly going to move $2 or $3 to the upside. A miss is almost certainly going to move 2 or 3 to the downside. So basically what you're doing is when you're going for a small chunk of that implied move, you're trading something representative of a coin flip. So let me pause there for a second. Does that make sense? If you're trading much less than the implied move, because the implied move will typically, some percentage of that will typically be hit, anything much smaller than that is essentially a coin flip trade. So because it's a coin flip trade, the options in and around there should typically be priced close to 1-to-1. So a dollar spread, the max value of a dollar spread, should typically be priced around 50 cents. Meaning, listen, this is a coin flip trade, therefore you're going to get a 1-to-1 risk reward on the spread itself. Now, if you go down a couple dollars like Graham did, you'll see maybe it go from 50 cents to 45 cents, maybe 42 cents. Anything even like 40 cents, I would consider a great deal already, because you're pretty close to that coin flip range. So the fact that we got it at 25 cents means that you're getting a 300% ROI potential for essentially what is a coin flip trade. And so the risk reward does not line up with the actual structure of the trade. Doesn't mean we can't lose. Obviously, it could beat and it could go up, or maybe it does miss. And it's one of those rare times where even though the expected move is $11, it only moves $1, and it doesn't move enough to give us a win. But when you run over all the data, what we're getting is an outsized risk reward relative to how that trade should move. Graham, I don't know if that made any sense to people. That was just an audible explanation, so hopefully it was sufficient. But if you want to give another crack at it, maybe.
If I could jump in, if you want to explain it kind of as, if it's a coin flip, you're going to win half the time, lose half the time. How much does your ROI have to be to break even, and then anything above that, right?
Yeah,
is a win,
right? So on a coin flip, you have to be able to win 100+% of the time if you have a 50% win rate. Your average win has to be 101% or more. Here, we're doing a one-off instance, so we're not going to be able to do this over a series of trades. But the math on the in particular trade is essentially a coin flip, but with a 300% ROI. So you know that you kind of net ahead relative to the baselines.
And the other thing too that's interesting here is like we're talking about about $7 move here to the downside. We got in for 25 cents. Looking at the upside pricing, this is much more normal pricing for, again, about a $6-7 move upside from 114 to 120. The max potential on this spread's a little over 100%. But for some reason to the downside, there was a little bit of a mispricing there. Our max upside's 300% for the same move, just in the other direction.
Yeah, and you could go to something like Cisco that's going to have more volume and compare it. So like Cisco, if you traded just like 1/3 of the downside move, which would basically be the 69.70, actually it'd be closer to 70.71 to be honest.
But even 69.70, you can see the price there.
Right, and that's actually more. more of a representative of the move than what we just traded. So again, this for some people, this is like, whoa, what are you talking about? You're still getting the hang of it. But this is one of the reasons we're doing closing playbook, guys. So you start to kind of drink out of the fire hydrant, see how we look at options in real time, see how we execute those trades, see how we run through the risk to rewards to see if they make sense. All that kind of stuff is part of what we want you to get out of the closing playbook, because it's more real-time raw trading versus the more training style and the analysis style that we'll do in opening playbook. And we believe that if you combine those two things, if you get rock solid training and analysis, ideas, strategies, etc., and then you can apply them with the real world trading, how to look at it, why I'm going to make an adjustment, why I'm going to use a target here but not here, then you're going to kind of be able to combine it in a way that's really practical and effective. So I hope that's what you guys are getting. That's what we're working toward. Yeah. And that's really the purpose of the closing playbook. And then one more for you guys for fun. This one is tomorrow morning. But Birkenstock Shoe Company, this was placed yesterday, and the stock is up today. So there's no way to know if this person already took profits or not. So keep that in mind. But I did go ahead and check out their options chain down here. You can see today, 23,000 calls to 9,000 puts, 5,000 above ask compared to 2,000. And if we look at the individual orders, there's some pretty good sized call options in here, whereas the put options are pretty far out of the money. There's one that just hit just now on the puts, actually. So let's see. We got a minute 49 left. About a 10% implied move on this one. Nate, I'm going to see if I can do one of your. They're 250 strike spreads on strikes on these. Are they?
Yeah.
It's a wide spread for a cheap stock.
All right. Here's what I'm going to do. Oops. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to type this up in a minute and 30 seconds.
Come on, Graham.
All right.
Go.
You guys can see here, just basically betting it's going to go one way or the other. Buy 15 AUG. Can you help me here? 52.5 call. Actually, I don't even know if this is good because you're going to have to meet a 55. Maybe don't do this. There is a profit here, but it needs to make an outsized move above the market maker move. Sorry, I hosed you there.
Yeah, well, with the $4 implied move and $2.50 strikes, you're kind of
right. If it was dollar strikes, we had something to play with.
Yeah, exactly. So another good lesson. So we won't take the same 10 minutes to break this one down, but maybe we can talk about a different closing session. The spreads are going to dictate part of your strategy. Like Graham just tried to give a two-way option, but because there was a $4 implied move and $2.50 strikes, he's limited in what he can do, and he had to literally go through the process of setting up the trade before the math made sense that you're not really even going to be able to pull it off.
So that's what we got today then. Core and Cisco for you guys. Since Burke didn't give us anything great there. Let's see. Anything else? We got the bell here in just a couple of seconds. So.
15 seconds. And I've got to call it at 4 o'clock here. I think that I will have to jump off. But we are going to talk about overnight options. I told everyone, Graham, before you got on, I said, listen, guys, I got to do another plug of overnight options because it's on an absolute roll. And I said, everyone in the chat has to back me up because we did something cool. I asked people in the chat, Graham, how many people were not just trading overnight options, but were using some of the advanced techniques to get some extra profit on the days that gapped up. I was amazed at how many people said yes. We had like 100 people say not only are they trading, but they're actually using the more kind of like, I guess you would call it advanced techniques to get extra profit. I said, all right, guys, well, we're going to talk about overnight options today. So you better back me up and tell everyone who's not in overnight options that they have to get in. So I'm looking forward to that too.
Yeah, I think it's just been on fire.
Yeah. So, all right, guys. Well, let's play that here. That's going to be our final thing for the afternoon is to say, hey, jump in on overnight options, and all of you guys in the chat who are in overnight options, give me a shout. Let everyone know that they need to get in on this before our next opportunity because we're on a roll. It's been a lot of fun, and we're hoping to keep it going.